Alright, so this is probably going to come out awkward as fuck because I don't usually sit and make shit like this. But around this time of year, everybody kind of puts out there, oh, I want these bands on Warped Tour, not these bands list. So I figured I might as well do one of my own. Before I get into bands I want to see, I have three that I really don't. One, Chelsea Grin. Now, anybody that knows me personally knows that I think these guys, specifically Alex Kohler, as a vocalist, are the best fucking thing to come out of music since Dick and Vag Penetration. But I think it's time for them to have a Mayhem run, honest to God. I mean, granted, if they were on Warped Tour, I would skip any band to see them, like I have the last two times they've been on. But they have one of the heaviest, most aggressive shows I've ever seen. And like I said, I think it's time they branched away from Warped and got put on something a little bit more fitting for them, I guess. Second, Ala fucking Sana. And I don't have as kind of words to say about these guys as I do Chelsea Grin. I think outside of Sleeping with Sirens and Pierce the Veil that this is the worst fucking band I've ever heard in my life. And not just studio-wise. I mean, I had a couple songs I used to like that friends had gotten me into that I listened to that were okay, still not really my thing. And then I decided to watch a few live videos and look more into them as a group, and on stage, Sean sounds even more like a cat getting raped by a donkey than he does on the album. So, I mean, I understand they're popular, and I get that they would bring out more fans to Warped Tour. I get it, great, put them on for that reason, but I don't want to see them, and there's no way in hell I would miss anybody for them. Lastly, Amir. Again, like Chelsea Grin, one of my favorite bands ever. But in the same sense as Chelsea Grin, Amir is one of the few bands I've seen put on a more aggressive and loud show than Chelsea Grin does. And for that reason, again, I think they need to step away from Warped Tour. I mean, I know they've only been on it once, but I don't really think it's their scene. That being said, I don't know that I'd put them on Mayhem Fest either, because they've been there twice, and that doesn't get very well accepted by the death metal and black metal, the only decent genre, and the rest of you guys are pussy faggot douchebags. But at the same time, you know, for that reason, I think they should be back on Mayhem Fest, because Frankie lives for pissing people off and causing controversy, and that's what they do every year that they get put on. People bitch, people complain while they sit in their parents' fucking basement with a bag of Doritos in their lap. So, by all means, Frankie, get your ass back on Mayhem Fest. Alright, now for the bands I want to see. First of all, Survive This. I don't know how popular they are because I haven't really kept up with them in that sense. I know they're produced by Ronnie Radke, so I'm sure that got a bunch of little fangirls on their side. But I saw them last year at Warped. They played to like 16 people in St. Louis, which, I mean, I thought they deserved a hell of a bigger crowd, but at the same time, it was an up-close personal show because of the size. And they're very, very down-to-earth guys. I caught up with them on the way to see Parkway Drive and talked to them for a while, and they're really fucking nice, which is hard to say for a lot of bands nowadays. They put on a very, very energetic show, and playing to 16 people, you would have thought they were playing to 16,000. Hopefully, if they're back on next year and for the full tour and come through St. Louis, they'll be much more accepted, and there'll be a bigger crowd there because they deserve it. But moving on, like Mauls of Flames, they are, I've seen them twice, and it's hard to find somebody with more stage energy than Chris Roeder has, as a vocalist, as a performer, and as a person. I mean, granted, when I saw them back in August, I think, for the second time, they were on the All-Stars tour, and they played, I'm assuming, the same set list they had there. So a headliner slot playing 6 songs was kind of short, but they put a lot of effort into that 6 songs, and they pleased the crowd every time they put on a show. So I would absolutely love to see them, 1, for that reason, and 2, because the last time they played at Warped Tour, I had to fucking miss them because I let people talk me into going to see Sleeping with Sirens instead. And I'm going to leave it at that. Number 3, Escape the Fate. Not really a Craig Mabbitt fan as a person, but I got to give it to the guys. They're a hell of a group. He's a hell of a vocalist. I've seen them once, and they put on a hell of a show for what they do. I mean, I've watched videos here recently, and it does look like they do have a lot of days that they're kind of hit or miss, which is every band. But I think, again, kind of like Alesana would have, but in a more positive sense, I think they'd bring out a bigger crowd to Warped. I know they're very well accepted, well thought of. And honest to God, I'd rather see them than Falling Universe again. So hopefully they'll be on it. Number 4, Knuckle Puck. I'm not really a pop punk guy. It's not really my thing. I think a lot of it's generic, and I think there's like 3 pop punk bands. Well, 3 modern pop punk bands. I mean, there's bands like Green Day and Blink-182 and Bowling for Soup, if you consider them that stand out. But anymore, I think it's a very generic genre. However, Knuckle Puck, being a newer band and not as popular as some, I think is doing a hell of a lot for pop punk. I think they've got a different sound about them, which is hard to say for many. And I think if more people got into them and learned who they were, they would bring out a very, very good-sized crowd at Warped. I mean, more than most of the pop-punk bands. I'm trying to think of one for an example. Shit, offhand, I can't come up with any, but there's, like I said, there's so many that sound the same, and these guys will be something different. Motionless in White. There's so many damn metalhead elitists that bitch at their last 2 albums. Oh, they're too synth. They sound like Marilyn Manson. They sound like fucking Rammstein, I think I saw somewhere. No, they don't. They sound like fucking Motionless in White. They definitely have their own sound, and it pisses a lot of people off that they change so much with each album, but they're doing their own thing. They're still finding success. They're still selling out shows and still working a crowd and putting on a hell of a performance. And I'll make the same comment as I said about the black metal, death metal douchebag elitists. And this could almost lead to a mini rant, but I'll probably save that for another video. But I will say the same thing for bands like Black Veil Brides, fucking Blood on the Dance Floor. Not that I ever want to defend them because I hate them. But I find it humorous that the people that sit and bitch about bands like that, namely bands like BVB, like I said, that are so, stand for what they stand for and do what they do with music. And there's people that sit in their fucking basement at home on a goddamn computer, which granted, it's what I'm doing, but still. Sit in their basement at home with a computer and bitch for 20 minutes about, oh, Black Veil Brides fucking sucks, Black Veil Brides is this. Don't fucking listen to them. Put in your Cannibal Corpse and Behemoth CDs and headbang the fuck away. Don't listen to Black Veil Brides. I don't listen to them. But I'm not going to sit here and talk shit on them because they're a hell of a lot more successful than I have been, and a hell of a lot more successful than anybody talking fucking shit. Capture the Crown. Didn't really know who the hell the guys were. I mean, I'd heard of them. And honestly, my opinion of them from the couple songs that I did know wasn't too fantastic. But I saw them on the Crowd Surf America tour with Bless the Fall a while back, and they definitely impressed. I mean, I thought outshone Bless the Fall. Very, very energetic. Jeffrey was very, very with the crowd, very down to earth, very, very friendly dude. I got a picture with him somewhere. He's just a guy. And like I said, that's hard to say for a lot of bands. And with the energy of their performance, I think they could really please a Warped Tour, so hopefully they'll get a run on that this year. These next 2 are obviously not the same kind of shit I've been talking about, but nextly, Yellow Wolf. For anybody that's paid any attention to this channel, anybody that knows me, they know that I've been doing shit with rap myself, and that it's something I've been into for a long time, and I'm just now, like I said, getting into writing my own shit. But I completely respect the genre. It's one of my favorites, and I think Yellow Wolf is doing it better than a lot of people. Not only style-wise, not only vocal-wise, and I mean the way that he seems to work a crowd, but it's rare to find somebody from the South that is a self-proclaimed country boy that's doing what he's doing with rap. And I mean, if you want to look at Southern rap or people that are trying to be country while being a rapper, I mean, he could always be like a fucking Michael Knight or the Georgia Boys or some shit like that. If you don't know who that is, look him the fuck up. And then put on I don't know, fucking Chelsea Grin or something to rid your head of the goddamn filth. Those bands I will talk shit on, because anybody that gets on stage in fucking cowboy hats and a cowboy boot and raps about pig shit and last when a fucking horse needs euthanized. That's all I'm going to say about him. Secondly, for a rapper, T Mills. I haven't listened to him very much recently just because I haven't. But I went through a few months where he was all I listened to. And he's, in my opinion, one of the better rappers that are on the scene today. He's very, very, again, seems very down to earth. He puts on a hell of a show. And crowd-wise, as many 15, 16-year-old little fangirls that want to get in his goddamn pants, I think he could bring out a hell of a crowd. And I'd most definitely go see him as I would Yellow Wolf. My last two, first of all, Borgore. And granted, I know he's big, he's popular, and a lot of people think that that eliminates a band from being on Warped, but you'd be surprised how many of them are big and popular and have found fame that could be asked to be on Warped Tour and would be like, fuck yeah, I'll go. So that's kind of a stupid argument. But I saw him a while back in Columbia, and he puts on, by far, I mean, even above Chelsea Grin, Amir, bands like that, the best live show I've ever seen in my life. And you can say what you will about dubstep, but it was very, very high energy. It was packed. It was some fucking college party weekend, which granted I think every weekend here in Missouri is. But, I mean, he was down to earth. He interacted with the crowd, got everybody pumped up. It was a hell of a time. And as far as dubstep goes, I honestly believe he's one of the hardest, most in-your-face, dirty dubstep artists out there today. And for anybody that's into the whole EDM scene, he would bring a hell of a crowd to Warped Tour. Lastly, Icy Stars. Another band I wasn't really into for a while. I started listening to them, listened to their newest album, and it was fucking beautiful. They are very, very unique, I guess, in their sound. I mean, there are bands that are doing what they're doing, but the way that they combine their synth, and it goes from that kind of a poppy synth sound into fucking straight anger, and then their clean vocals, don't know the dude's name, but are absolutely beautiful, and I don't think could fit it any better. And he's one of the few high-pitched vocalists that I can tolerate. Like I said, I've already expressed my disdain towards Pierce the Veil, Sleeping with Sirens, Alisana. It's not usually my thing, but they do it really fucking well, and I would absolutely love to see them. I've missed them a year too, and I don't remember who the hell I missed them for. But yeah, so if you disagree, tell me. If you agree, let me know. Comment below. If you have a video discussing the same thing, leave your bands in the comments, your picks, whatever. I'm going to get the fuck off here and finish eating my little Smokies. So, peace.